to another episode of Pimp Your Brilliance with Monique Malcolm, a podcast about brilliant people leveraging their passions to create their own opportunities. I aim to show you what's really possible when you shut down the chorus of fear and lean into your genius zone. You can learn more about this show and subscribe for updates by visiting keepchasingthestars.com/podcast or come hang out with me on Instagram at StarChasersOnly. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hey Star Chasers, welcome to Minisode number 6. If you need more information about this episode or show notes, you can find them at keepchasingthestars.com/M6. Today I want to talk about how to create a new routine. Lately, I've been receiving emails and messages from people who are struggling to create routines that support their goals. So I want to talk about the essential steps that you need to work through in order to build a new routine. But first, let's talk about the difference between a routine and a habit. A routine is a sequence of actions that are regularly followed. So things like getting up in the morning, brushing your teeth, getting dressed for work, eating breakfast, all of those are part of your morning routine. And you have a morning routine whether you consciously decided to create one or not. Chances are you do the same things pretty much every morning, especially if you have to leave the house for work. You have the same set of actions that you take every morning to get ready. On the other side of that is a habit, and a habit is one or more actions that are a part of your routine. So things like brushing your teeth, making yourself breakfast, those are your habits. So when we're talking about creating routines, you are essentially setting the habits that you're going to do every single morning to reach your end goal. I'm going to share with you the 7 steps that I went through in order to become someone who went from never working out to becoming a person who's working out 6 times a week now. And I haven't talked much about my fitness journey, but at the beginning of this year, I made the decision to try to get back in shape, and I decided I was going to train to do a half marathon. Now, I haven't done the half marathon yet. It's not until November, but I had not run at all for the last 4 years before I decided I was going to do this half marathon. So I needed to create a routine that was going to support 1, me getting in shape, and 2, me being able to do enough training so that I can complete this half marathon in November. So this is how I did it. I started with one thing, and that's really important. The fastest way to fail when you're creating a new routine is trying to go from 0 to 60. And we tend to do that a lot. We say, I want to get in shape, and I want to eat healthy, and I want to read 30 minutes a day, and I want to get 8 hours of sleep. And that's all great, but it's not great for us to try to do that all at one time. So you need to pick one thing. For me, I knew I wanted to get in shape, and I decided running was the way that I was going to do that. So that was my one thing. My second step was having my end goal in mind. So we create routines because we have something that we need to accomplish. So this could be, I want to write more blog posts, so I want to create a writing routine, or I want to get fit, so I'm going to start running. I want to make more sales, so I want to be more consistent with sending out newsletters every week. Or I want to have better trips to the dentist, so I'm going to start flossing. Whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, you need to create a routine to support that. Our routines are created to support our goals. So for me, my end goal is completing a half marathon. But because the timeline for that was so far, and I had no prior running training really for the last several years, I actually created a kind of a mid-checkpoint goal to help me get into the habit of running again. I decided I was going to train to do a 5K first. So I broke that goal into a closer and easier to obtain goal. And that was, I'm going to redo the Couch to 5K program so that I could run a 5K. So that was my end goal for about 3 months as I tried to develop this routine. Step 3, figure out your initial schedule and how often you want to do that thing. So whatever it is that you're working on, you need to figure out how often can you fit this into your schedule and what days and times is that going to happen. So with the Couch to 5K, it required me to run 3 times a week. So I picked Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and decided I was going to run in the morning with my husband before he had to go to work. So that's usually about 6:30 to 7. We have a window that we can run. When you choose your schedule, you need to make sure you can commit to your schedule for at least 30 days. I know people think, 21 days, you need that much time to build a habit. and that's great. Go for the whole 30. Chances are things are going to come up and you need some time to adjust, and giving yourself a month to kind of practice and see if this works, you'll be able to tweak it and make adjustments at the end of the month. So plan to commit to your schedule and not change it for at least 30 days. Step 4, set yourself up for success. So you need to gather the tools and the resources, the equipment, whatever it is that you need to complete your routine, and eliminate as much decision making as possible. And this is like crucial. If you can figure out ways to automate pieces of your routine and just do them, then I definitely suggest that you do that. So what that looks like for me is laying out my gym clothes and what I need for the next morning's training session the night before. So there's some days of the week that I'm up at 5 o'clock to go to a class at 5:45. I don't want to convince myself to get back in the bed and go back to sleep. So the way I prevent myself from doing that is I eliminate all unnecessary decisions in the morning. So that's things like trying to find my clothes. What am I going to have for breakfast? How much time do I have? I lay out everything that I need on a chair. When the alarm clock goes off, my one goal in the morning after the alarm clock goes off is to get out of the bed and grab the clothes. Once I'm out of the bed and I have my clothes, I go through my morning routine and it's just automatic. But the hard part is getting out the bed. So if you have things that you know are potentially roadblocks for you getting through your routine in the morning, eliminate them as much as possible. Number 5, get some accountability. So find someone that you can check in with and that you can share your progress with. This can be friends, this can be spouses, co-workers. You can join an accountability group, or it can be in a paid capacity. So thinking, coaches, trainers, assistants, all these people that you may be working with can help keep you accountable. I roped my husband into running this half marathon with me, as well as several friends. So it was easier for me to stick with my running schedule because I had my husband who would know if I did not run that day, because he didn't run that day. Also, I decided to hire a personal trainer. So working out with her at the gym several times a week helped me stay consistent with going to the gym. So the key here is utilize the accountability that you have available to you, whether it's a friend or it's somebody that you're paying. Lean on that person, ask them to keep you accountable. Step number 6, show up. The hardest thing about creating new routines is following through. So no matter what, you have to get started, even if it's a slow start. If your goal is to create a writing routine, that means on your designated day and designated writing time, you need to be at your computer with a blank document open, typing. Even if you're typing, I don't know what to write. You get started and you start forcing yourself to get into the habit of following through on your routine. In the early stages of running, I'm not going to lie, it was the struggle because I didn't want to do it, but I always counted it a win. If I got dressed, I made it to my running spot and I got started. Because after a few minutes of walking, I just start the timer and I try to do the runs. And even if I had to take it slower or I couldn't run as far as the distance I needed to do that day, I would just walk it to make sure that I got the time and that I need to. So sometimes it's just the act of following through, even if you don't complete it at 100%. That's not always the most important part. The most important part is just getting started and doing it. Number 7, scale up as things become easier. Once parts of your routine are easier, add on to it. So I went from running 3 times a week to working out 6 days a week. And that's 3 days of running, 2 days of training, and 2 to 3 days of spin classes every week. And I absolutely love it. It's at a pace that I like. I'm doing things that I really like. And as things became more comfortable, as I got, more comfortable running, I could run for longer distances and I could add on more weight training. And as I got comfortable with weight training, I could add back in the spin classes. But I would not have been able to do all of those things in the beginning. And that would have been discouraging had that been my goal, to build a routine to do all of those things. So I just added on piece by piece. And as things became more comfortable, I added on more. And my bonus tip is to remain flexible. You're trying to make this routine become a regular thing that you do often and, almost on autopilot. So make adjustments when necessary and don't sweat your setbacks because we all have them. Remember what I said, just making sure that you're showing up every time that you say you're going to show up. Eventually the routine will stick and, you could be a 6-day gym person like I am, or a daily rider, whatever it is that you're working on. Just keep at it. And that's it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening. Learn more about this show and get access to show notes by visiting keepchasingthestars.com. While you're there, make sure you subscribe for updates. I'll be back next week, and in the meantime, go out there and pimp your brilliance.